Testing, testing. How's that? This is mic number 2. Mic number 1. Hello? Testing, testing. How's that?
1 second. Maybe
Okay.
can you hear that a little bit more? Keep talking.
Okay. Let's see. I have a donation jar right over there by the table. So if you want to hear anything that the speakers are saying, well, feed the jar. How's that, Adam? Yes. What can I say? Crossfield. This is my first time in Crossfield. Seems like a very nice community.
Okay, that's good.
Good.
All right, thank you. This is your 5-minute warning. We're going to, if I can get the candidates to make their way up to the stage, we're going to start in about 5 minutes. Actually, while we're just 30 seconds away from starting, if everybody could check your telephones, just make sure they're turned off, please. As is mine. And good evening. I've got to tell you, this is the most punctual I have ever been. We were like to the second at 7 o'clock that we're going to start. So, welcome to the Mayoral Mayor and School Trustee Forum. Before we begin this evening's Council Forum, we want to acknowledge that September 30th is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. This day honors survivors of residential schools, their families, and their communities, and reminds us of the ongoing impact of these institutions. It is a time to reflect on our shared responsibility to learn, listen, and walk together in reconciliation. We also acknowledge that we are on the traditional territories of the Indigenous peoples of the Treaty 7 and the Otoi-Pimusquak Métis Government District 4. We respect the histories, language, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all the First Peoples of Canada. Their presence continues to enrich our community. We are grateful to live, work, and gather on these lands and recognize the enduring relationship Indigenous peoples have with them. This evening, it's my pleasure to be your moderator for the Mayoral, got it the second time, Forum. My name is Bob Rogers. I am a resident of Airdrie, so in this election, I don't have any skin in the game, but I have been, almost half of my career as a teacher has been in Crossfield, both at W.G. Murdoch as a teacher and later at Crossfield Elementary School, where it was my privilege to be the principal for 6 years. I am also a member of the Airdrie Discovery Toastmasters Club, and so there's a pitch for public speaking. This will be my third time I've had the privilege of being the moderator for your forum. The last time we did this, we had a lot of acclaimed people running. In fact, every single person running was acclaimed. There wasn't actually an election. I am so pleased and so grateful to all the candidates who have put their names forward, because the democratic process does not happen without people putting their names forward and doing this work. So I would like to thank all of our candidates, both for today, for the mayors and the school trustees, and tomorrow we're going to see the council people. Putting a name forward and doing this work, it is a thankless job, and so thank you for putting a name forward, and thank you for the work of being our representatives, and let's give them a round of applause, please. And they say all politics is local politics, and that's why this is where the magic happens. All right. I said I'll be moderating for the mayoral candidates, and then for the school trustees, I'll introduce my colleague, Gail Fewer, also a fellow Airdrie resident. She's a small business owner and one of my fellow Toastmasters. And Gail will be leading the moderation for the school trustees. I'd now like to thank all the candidates by name who have put their names forward. So for mayor, we have Doug Bedom, Kim Harris, and Mary Voidiga. For school trustee, Norma Lang and Sarah Roth. And thank you again for putting forward your names. This forum is scheduled for 2 hours, allowing time for introductions and a question and answer period. Depending on the number of questions received, the event may conclude before the full 2 hours. The evening is going to begin with the mayoral candidates from 7 to 8, followed by school trustee candidates from 8 to 9. The forum is also being streamed virtually by electronic means through the town's YouTube page. The agenda will go as follows. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes to introduce themselves and share their share their platform at the podium. There will then follow a question and answer period. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer or rebut each question. There will be no open mic. Questions will be moderator-led, including those submitted in advance by electors and written questions from their public attendees. The mediator has discretion in selecting questions to read. Please note that due to time constraints and the number of questions, not all questions may be addressed. And having looked at the box, there's over 100 questions. We will not be able to do every single question. Each candidate will be given a 3-minute final remark at the end. At the end of that will be it. Okay. With that, it's my very great pleasure to introduce the first of our 3 mayoral candidates. Please join me in welcoming Doug Benham. Doug, you can...
Thank you. Good evening. I am Doug Benham, and I am seeking the position of mayor for the town of Crossfield. I want to extend my well wishes to Miss Kim Harris and Miss Mary Wydiga, and good luck to both of you. I'm a newcomer to Crossfield. I recently moved here last June after spending 25 years up in the Peace Country and time before that moving all around the province. Although I'm just a recent permanent resident, I have a close relationship with Crossfield for some time due to family already living here. I want to have an active role in this community, and I feel a new perspective may be of some benefit to me. From moving around the country, we've lived in a number of different small communities, and the work of the leaders that were vying for the position, I always viewed as a tremendous sacrifice that they made on the behalf of the people. And so, having retired, I feel that I have the time and the patience and the willingness to be able to do this. I retired last year before we moved down with 51 years of experience in working with the compliance and enforcement for the province of Alberta in various roles and locations across this beautiful province. My resulting experience as an inspector, investigator, manager, senior manager, and a correctional peace officer have given me a significant background and education. I've worked at all levels of government, be it provincial, federal, and with Indigenous government, various industries such as forestry, environment, oil and gas, coal mines, large gravel operations, confined feeding operations, and the correctional facility. During that time, I've had the opportunity to work closely with educational facilities such as the Petroleum Industry Training Center, Olds College, and the University of Alberta. Public people and organizations and Indigenous people made up a significant portion of that amount of time and gave me very good insight into direction, be it past or future, and the importance of open, honest communication. I have a significant experience with supervision, training, budgets, planning for and responding to environmental emergencies, appearing before appeal boards and politicians, having to justify my decisions in regard to environmental certificates, for meeting government standards, or for penalties to industry for not meeting them. Involved in updating legislative requirements and then presenting the results to industry. Time to sit down. 3 minutes goes fast.
Our second of our three candidates, Kim Harris.
Thank you. Hey, good evening, everyone. I am Mayor Kim Harris. It's been a privilege the last 4 years to represent you as your mayor. I humbly hope to represent Crossfield as mayor for the next 4 years, to lead Crossfield into many opportunities, to grow and to continue to be a well-rounded, sustainable community. Me as your mayor and this council that is fixed, planned, engaged with the community, and completed long-awaited projects, asset management plans, updated bylaws and policy, the work that isn't flashy, but builds a solid foundation for Crossfield to work on. Sean and I have raised our kids here since 2007 and have become embedded into this community that we love and call home. My extensive education and experience is various universities and colleges, extended learning opportunities through municipal elected officials courses through Alberta municipalities, and I've taken 3 of the NACLA courses for municipal governments that most of the CEOs have taken. In leadership, my experience in leadership, placemaking, and project management, my 25 years working for municipalities, experience that is invaluable as a mayor. My greatest strengths being engagement, leadership, project and facility management, community development, and lobbying all levels of government. So why am I running for you as mayor? I'm seeking re-election for mayor so that I can continue the momentum and hard work I started 4 years ago. Crossfield is my home, and like you, I care about how Crossfield is developed, how Crossfield has the potential to be an even better town than we are today. I believe that together we can grow Crossfield into a place where our kids want to come back, sit down the roots, and raise their families. I, with council, have made great progress over the last 4 years to update policies and bylaws, including the municipal development plan, budget and operating policies that create a foundation for efficiency and best practices. Over this past term, my focus has set Crossfield up for success by establishing good financial policies, set aside reserve funds for future infrastructure, and establish efficiencies in the way Crossfield is run. I'm very proud of our balanced budget. I want to continue to be transparent and accountable, to further strengthen our connection with all levels of government, fiscal responsibility, growing Crossfield in that way that's supported by good policy, bylaw frameworks, strategy, and a viable 10-year capital plan, and to make Crossfield a vibrant community through recreation opportunities for all ages. And a commitment to you to building a walkable, livable community where residents can work closer to home. This work that must be done together with your help, we can shape Crossfield into a vibrant small town that we all want to call home. We have more work to do, and as I've demonstrated, I will represent you with integrity and be a leader that you expect of mayor. Thank you to the candidates that are running. Thank you to our current council. I know some of us may or may not be back, and I promise I will represent you to the best way possible as we work together towards a collective vision for Crossfield. Thank you.
And our third candidate, Mary Voidiga.
Good evening, residents of Crossfield, neighbors, and business people, if any. Just a background on me. I was born in Montreal. My mother was Ukrainian, my father was Polish, and we lived on the outskirts. We had a family farm. I learned how to milk cows, believe it or not, Crossfield, even though I'm dressed in a business suit, and even how to churn milk, churn butter, which children these days don't know what that means. Later in my life, I lived outside of Montreal in a small community similar to Crossfield. Actually, the population was only like 1,500 approximately, much smaller. I commuted to work in Montreal and or its outskirts. I am married to a half Irish and half Scottish man. Not sure how that works out with half Polish and half Ukrainian. We butt heads at times. I'm very proud of my husband. I love him dearly. He has been struggling with stage 5 Parkinson's for a while, so he will not be present to support me. I have one daughter, Gigi, who is married with Daniel. On September 8th, they made me a proud grandmother to a future crossfielder here, baby boy named Osler. Doesn't that ring a bell? Crossfield? We have a street called Osler. I asked my daughter, why Osler? And she says, well, Mom, she goes, that's a very noble name. And I agree with her. She says, look it up in the dictionary. I studied accounting, business administration, and famous mandatory French language back in Quebec. We had no choice, right? I worked in numerous industries. I started my career as a receptionist bookkeeper while studying for a very well-renowned data personnel recruitment firm, ending my employ as a personnel consultant. I received an offer working for the Bank of Montreal Public Affairs, head office in Montreal, where I prepared press releases and internal communications. I moved on to Bank of Montreal in their head office back and forth between Toronto, and then I made the decision to seek a different venue because I wasn't liking Toronto. I found it very busy, too busy for me. I went back into accounting. So I was hired as an office administrator, overseeing all budgets, forecasts, accounting for a nonprofit youth center. I was in charge of handling a $2 million grant, as well as corporate donations. I was then picked up as an accountant bookkeeper for Hanscom Group, which is an international renowned engineering consulting firm, where I undertook huge projects such as hospitals, recreation centers, etc. I was in charge of their budgets, purchasing materials, forecasts, manpower, etc. Lastly, I accepted a position for a large real estate firm handling 1,200 units for investors. Montreal's economy was not the best, so I elected to move to Calgary, Alberta on April 2nd, 1997. As the population back then was approximately 750,000, and the majority of employers were all oil and gas, I chose a different field of employment. 10 seconds? Okay. We can't talk loud. Basically, embracing change is a good thing. Fresh faces, new ideas. I am passionate about the following: addressing sewage issues, address infrastructure, growth and retention of businesses, transportations for seniors to medical appointments, after school care for our children ages 6 to 12, seeking to property taxes at a reasonable rate versus this year's rate of increases, listening to our residents and address their concerns in a timely fashion, communicate electronically via email or newsletters in the mail. Thank you.
3 minutes seems like a long time, and yet not so much. All right. So for our next, thank you all for your opening remarks. We'll now move to prepared questions. We've got a number on the table, and I've got 3 already to go. For each of these, Doug, you get the first question, and then Kim and Mary, you get to respond to the same question afterwards. I'll address your attention to the lights. And so you'll see the yellow light at 30 seconds left and the red light. When you see the red light, I'll ask you to stop. If you don't stop, I'll wait 5 seconds, and I'm going to so politely say your name as best I can. All right. All right. So, Doug, first question goes to you. What would be the biggest change you would like to see in how the town is run? Oops.
Can you hear me? There we go. The biggest change on how the town would be run depends on my review of books and the conversation with the CAO once I become mayor. Having been here for a year, it's running pretty good. It's still surviving. There's no complaints. And I think Ms. Harris is doing a good job. But there's always a new perspective to everything. And if we don't change, we don't keep up with the times. Of course, economic prudence is top of the category. Options that could be made for training, I'm not aware of, but I'm sure there are options now. Safety is a big concern that should be high on the priority list.
Okay, Doug,
And
that's 2 minutes.
economic, done.
You've got the red light on. Oh, I apologize. You did not have 2 minutes. You've got another 30 seconds.
I'll let Kim answer for me.
So that's how it's going to go.
Would you like me to repeat the question, Kim?
Yeah, please.
Okay. And Doug, I do apologize for that. No problem. Yeah. Kim, what would be the biggest change you would like to see in how the town is run?
Well, always for the town to have more money, but seriously, I think we have some improvements to make. We've been making them over the years slowly, but it takes a long time to right a ship that has fallen over the years, so it takes some time for that. We've started on updating policies, updating the MDP, and I'm looking forward to updating our area structure plan so that we can have better development in Crossfield. And on that development structure, we've changed our inspectors, making some improvements there, making sure the home inspections have been completed better, and we also track all those inspections so we know where the problems lay so that we can follow up with those. And I think that, as we go, we always have to make improvements. It's not just one improvement, it's many improvements. Getting the right staff, the right bums in the right seats, adding an additional municipal enforcement for community safety, updating our bylaws so that people know what our bylaws are, enforcing our development plans so that development in Crossfield is sustainable and reasonable. And just overall, I think improving, as we have been doing, our communication out to the community. You guys are our partners. We value what you have to say. We want to get the information out to you in the right way. We're trying to do that. We've been trying to do some new things, but I think there's always room for improvement. And our staff is really good at looking at the situation and finding new ways to do things if something's not working. So that's something I really do appreciate, and we'll continue to do that as we move forward. Thank you.
And Mary, do you want to hear the question again?
What change in town is?
Yes. What would be the biggest change you would like to see in how the town is run?
Communication. Communication is the foundation of any structure. Home, employment, or else otherwise. That is the main key component that is missing, I find, currently. And I understand that the town is kind of saturated. They're overloaded currently with the commitments that they have in staffing. My second item here would have to be the structural plan here. The town is 233 years old. Our pipes here are not going to last that long. There's some areas that truly need brand new pipes. I've heard from residents that they had some inspections done upon purchasing a home, and the pipeline to the house was fine, but the pipeline from the town, was inappropriate. It was going to go eventually. So that is a concern, because then we're going to have another hay dam where we're going to run out of water. We're going to have the water shut down, right? And we're going to be going into an emergency mode. So structure is very, very important, the infrastructure of our town and emergency services. Thank you.
You hang on. I'll get you to pass the microphone to Kim as she gets to go first the second round. Okay. So Kim, this question, because it's your turn to go first, this one actually starts with for Mayor Harris. But Mary and Doug, you also get to answer the same question. Everybody gets to answer every question. Okay. So Kim, the question is, what have you done to help small business in Crossfield since being elected? Again, what have you done to help small business in Crossfield?
That's a really good question. So we, as Crossfield, we applied for the NRED grant. which is an economic development grant. And we use that to do some studies for Crossfield, as well as to look at where we can put some signs for business and upgrade that. We've facilitated, after the downtown was made from the previous council, some of the signage that went up on Main Street. And we have supported the Chamber of Commerce in a lot of ways over the years through staff member for a number of years, as well as through assistance and support for their golf tournament and a few other things. So it's more on a broader base that the town can help out with businesses. So we support as many ways as we can. We also have a good website and advertise Crossfield and for people to come to Crossfield so that hopefully they can spend their money in the downtown businesses.
Thank you, Kim. All right, Mary, for you, the slight change to the question. It's going to be, what will you do to help small business in Crossfield if you are elected? And Kim has the microphone for you. So again, what will you do to help small business in Crossfield if you are elected?
Thank you. What I would do is I would reach out to businesses, franchises, to see if they're interested in starting up here in Crossfield. I've heard that some potential people would like to purchase land, and they have some modular structures they would like to entertain, such as a one shop for acupuncturist, for a psychologist, for a doctor, which we're in dire need of, right? Just to give an accountant, all in one building, because people can't afford the current rents here. They're exponentially through the roof. So I already have somebody that asked me, what would it be like for them to start up their business here? And I said, I think they would have a great idea, great scope to start, because it's an Italian restaurant. I won't mention the name. And I said, yeah, I think it would work because we don't have an Italian restaurant here. Promotion amongst ourselves and to support local is important. Like I shop at Carmen's so that they can survive, right? I go to Harvest Grill to eat. I actually go to Gone Who. We do all the restaurants. We give them the opportunity to earn money, once a week or twice in a month or whichever, which is very important to our community. X-Rocks, the Rock Company. There's a lot of the hairdressers here, Noah's Beauty Bar, and I think my time is coming up. Thank you.
You've got 30 seconds if you want it.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. And to Doug. And Doug, same question as Mary had. What will you do to help small business in Crossfield if you are elected?
Business, be it small or large, is a fundamental cornerstone of any community. It's hard to get established in a small community because people still want deals. They want cheaper products, and they will travel some distance to be able to get it at a less price. But I think the business that we have needs room to grow. It needs room to be able to expand. They are an incredible backbone for hiring the young people in the community where they get their first stab at working to determine their interest. It's great for the business to have local people working in it. That creates a friendlier atmosphere. So I think you have to be cognizant of areas that can be designated for future small business, maximize the potential that we have for existing businesses, and to be able to listen to where better situations would be when we come to setting up new plans, because we want a community that can grow and expand and still have a sense of community overall, but to be prepared to have small areas that build a little bit more in-depth feeling amongst the people in that area, that they can go to a corner store or convenience store, get everything they need. The small businesses would be the grocery stores, small lumber yards, lots of opportunity for other creations here.
Thank you, Doug. So Mary, you get first crack at this question. Growth in our town is inevitable. What do you think is a positive thing of that growth, and what could we do better? Growth in our town is inevitable. What do you think is a positive of that growth, and what could we do better?
Growth is definitely a positive thing, and there's no way to avoid it. As I mentioned, I became a recent grandmother here, and my daughter lives in Crossfield since 2020. So, unless you put them on birth control, I think they're popping them out, don't drink the water, right? The growth is inevitable, and that's what we want. We want family. What can we do better? We can have recreation. There's more recreation for different types of age groups, like 6 to 12, right? 12 to 16. Our school programs, right? We need, there's a school that was supposed to be built here, and it's still sitting, the lot empty, which I think the school trustees can address to that later. In essence, I mean, growth is fantastic, but not only our children are our future, our seniors are our future. We have a lot of seniors coming into town that owned acreages, and they are downsizing. They are coming to Crossfield because it reminds them of the farm look, but it's a family here, right? It's a very small community, and growth is not going to grow exponentially overnight, because we do have the infrastructure problems presently. There's a few things that we have to deal with. That's in essence, people are worried, I'm going to lose my culture. I'm going to use that sense of community. You won't. It's not going to grow into Airdrie overnight. That I can guarantee. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And to Doug, please. Doug, same question. Growth in our town is inevitable. What do you think is a positive, and what can we do better?
Growth proves that you're a living organism. And so when a community starts to grow, it's slow, and then it seems to speed up as you get more people coming in. Looking after the opportunity to provide requires planning. You're going to need bigger schools, you're going to need more sports facilities, you're going to need a greater number of stores, you're going to have a demand for different types of housing. Those, as Mary mentioned, coming in from the farm may want to downsize and get a smaller house, bungalow, duplex, or the younger people want to move up and have a larger house. So we have to take more care in our planning as to is it better to keep everything mixed up, or is it better to create a neighborhood where the young and the old perhaps could have synergy off of each other, in that it keeps the old thinking young and caring for their neighbors, and it gives the youth of those young families an opportunity to do community work, shovel snow, mow lawns, visit, do whatever with the elderly. So planning, again, is always being prepared for what's coming up and having the resources, knowing what the people want to have options, and be prepared. And it doesn't happen overnight, as has been mentioned, but we can plan for the future and provide a better need that includes living, recreation, and community events in a better mode.
Thank you, Doug. I lost track. It's you, okay. Thank you, Kim.
We'll keep
All
you
right.
on track, Bob.
Thank you. I need people to do that for me. We're helping each other out. Kim, growth in our town is inevitable. What do you think is a positive, and what can we do better?
Yeah, you're right, Bob. Growth is inevitable. We are growing at a pretty fair rate. It's been between 4.5% and 5% per year over the last few years, and Crossfield has pivoted a little bit to try and accommodate that growth. So some of the positives, I think, are, it creates opportunities for families. It creates more jobs for people here in Crossfield. I see people, when I first moved here, like 18, 19 years ago, everyone was going south during the workday, and now we see people coming north to Crossfield to work, and I think that's a great thing. So opportunities for businesses, and as well as building a well-rounded Crossfield that has amenities for everyone is what we can do. So for Crossfield, and what can we do better, and what will we continue to do better, is to keep up with growth in a sustainable manner, develop Crossfield and its residential area in a good, positive way. Lobby all the different levels of government like we are doing now, but maybe be a little stronger in that case so that we can get more money for our infrastructure from both the provincial and the federal governments. And of course, part of that sustainable infrastructure is recreation and building things for all ages, not just the kids, but for our seniors and for all the ages in between, which we try and do through our FCSS and through our programming and a lot of our many recreational groups and not-for-profit groups in town that provide a lot of programming for us. And I think that, the other positive thing of growth is we do generate a little more revenue with the tax base on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. And I'll get you to pass the microphone back to Doug. Okay, we'll call that round one. Everybody's had a chance to go first now. So we're moving on to round two. Okay, so Doug, this is your chance to answer this question first. What are your views on balancing the budget? Sorry, let me rephrase a little bit. What are your views on balancing the budget short-term and investing in the well-being of the community long-term? Again, what are your views on balancing the budget short-term and investing in the well-being of the community long-term?
Having a budget and sticking to it is important. To every rule, there's an alternate way of circumventing it. So I think that's where the creativity of the leadership would come into play. You can't spend more than you make in a household, and the same runs for a municipal organization. Your plans are the same as running a household. If you want to go on a trip, if you want to buy a new car, if you want to build a new house, you have to have some reserve funds put away so that when you need it, you have the collateral to be able to make that change. Opportunity knocks at any time. And so that's where having projects that you've got on the books and you think you're going to be doing those projects in a systematical way, they have to be reviewed and prioritized so that if changes do occur, you have some flexibility in making that change. So long-term planning is important, and there should always be a 1, 3, 5, and 10-year plan. You have to know what your goals are. You have to be able to meet your debt load requirements, should be aware of your planning for economic growth, the influx coming into the town, and do you have the resource base, the land base, in a ready-to-go mode when the economy updates and you need to have space for business? Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. All right, Kim, the microphone's coming to you. All right, Kim, what are your views on balancing the budget, pacing. What are your views on balancing the budget short-term and investing in the well-being of the community long-term?
Well, great news. I think Crossfield over the last couple of years has done a really good job at balancing your budget. So kudos to staff on that one. So I think we first have to understand what the town needs, what our priority projects are. There are some things that must be done, and then some things that are nice to have. And we have to pick and choose what those are on a yearly basis, because our revenue stream isn't as much as what we would like it to be, and that's across all the towns across Alberta, for sure. Crossfield is already on the way to investing in restricted and unrestricted funds to save for those rainy days, to put towards those big projects that we know are coming down the road. We have a robust 10-year capital plan now that we look at and go from. We also do things like engaging with the community. So we did an FCSS social assessment, and we also did a recreation needs assessment to find out from you what is needed here in Crossfield and wanted by the community, and we're going down the path of trying to implement those through development and through the town purchasing it, applying for grants, and doing it ourselves. So one of the biggest things I think that for investing in that longevity is finding new sources of revenues. And this is one of the reasons why we started the Midtown-sized Mayor's Caucus, is to lobby the government for funding for towns 1,000 to 15,000, so that we can get more money for our basic infrastructure. And that means pipes in the ground, roads, aging infrastructure, and those types of things. So I think looking ahead to lobby the government and finding those new sources of funding, including grants, which I think Crossfield, I've worked for 5 different municipalities, and Crossfield is the best at getting additional funding through grants. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. And Mary, what are your views on balancing the budget short-term and investing in the well-being of the community long-term?
Short term, I would have to say anything that is frivolous, non-essential, right? If you want to have Christmas lights, we already have some, you know. It's nice to have Thanksgiving events, a lot of things, but those are individual fundraisers, right? In terms of our budget here, short term, I'd have to take a look at the sheet, the balance sheet, and actually dig into what the expenses are. Can we perhaps maybe save money on the subcontractors that we hire here for the town, right? Maybe we can get better quotes, bids, and tenders from those people. In terms of our staff, you know, I think recently we had somebody that just posted on the town's forum for a communications coordinator. Is that essential? I'm not sure, right, part-time. But that's an additional cost to us here. Long-term, I mean, it's like planning your budget at home, right, or anywhere else. You have so many people, and the thing is, we have a lot of property taxes coming from individuals and from business owners as it is currently. So unless, you know, we take a look, which I'm not privy to the breakdown of the expenses, only generalized, I'm not able to answer fully that question. I would need to analyze the statement, and, you know, then I can fully answer this question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I'll ask you to pass the microphone to Kim, please. Okay. Kim, this is your turn to start first. How will you create and foster a relationship with the residents of Crossfield? Again, how will you create and foster a relationship with the residents of Crossfield?
Are you speaking as mayor, or are you speaking as the town?
I'm just reading the question.
Okay.
So
No.
I think you get to pick.
Okay, great. No problem. So as mayor, and I think I've done it over the last 4 years, and I did it as a councillor too, my first year that I was elected here. I think it's just being involved in your community and showing up for everyone and being willing to be open and answering questions. I try and go to every event that I can. I'm open to people calling me, emailing me. I answer questions. I go to all the events. I was integral in helping out Craft Hockeyville this year. I did radio interviews. I showed up for the newspaper. I showed up on site. I, was all over the place for that. I, encourage and go to hockey events. I go to minor soccer. They even made me, I went to their Tiny Thunder under like the 5-year-olds. And they made me a T-shirt that said Mayor of Thunderville, which I thought was pretty cute. So I wore that T-shirt again when I went to the women's soccer, or the girls' soccer power event here that happened in Crossfield just a couple of weeks ago. So I am that mayor that shows up. I go to the events. I'm open. I'm authentic. And I'm ready to work with, a new council. I'm ready to work with staff always. Because I value them and I value our community. So I'm always going to show up and I'm always going to be here for you.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. And to Mary. Mary, how will you create and foster a relationship with the residents of Crossfield?
I would have an open door policy. I don't work, I don't have another job, so I'm available basically 24/7, so to speak, right? I don't want anybody showing up asking me questions at midnight. However, I'm here, wouldn't be sitting here. I put my name in on January the 24th because I knew what my mission was. My vision was to serve Crossfield. Okay. If I meet somebody on the street, if they have a question and it's a non-confidentiality breach question, like example, how much does so-and-so earn in payroll, or how much does somebody earn as an operations manager, I regretfully wouldn't be able to divulge that information because that's against, privacy of the candidate or the employee. But I am transparent. I'm here. I'm open. You had the opportunity to come and talk to me, had you wish to do so, right? And on the streets when I meet people, I'm definitely open to their views, their feedback, how's their day, right? So I can relate. I go to the 50-50 club, the 50-plus club, because I'm definitely over 50. I think I got the gray hair, which is covered up. But I enjoy working for people, right? I've done sponsorships here. I've joined, the Elks for casino. I've helped out with the Rodeo Society, and I enjoyed it. That's about it.
Thank you very much, Mary, and we'll pass the microphone to Doug. All right, Doug, how will you create and foster a relationship with the residents of Crossfield?
Well, you can't be in a public office and close the door and only have specific times to meet with people. I appreciate that. It works both ways in that in forming a relationship of communication, there has to be some boundaries. You can be made available, certainly anytime during working hours. When you go to public events, there's always people that want to come up and talk. But when we are out of the office and you want to talk about specific issues, there's a right place and a wrong place, and doing business in front of public just opens up a different environment. Oftentimes it goes beyond what the initial intent was. So to foster that relationship, certainly phone calls, emails, that is one way to get the ball rolling, and you can then do the homework to be able to answer their questions appropriately. You can set up a time to review the file or the information prior to getting back to the individual so that you're giving factual information. To start being answering specific questions, it is always better to be in a quiet, controlled environment so that both parties have opportunities to think about the answer and to make a rebuttal in going at that. So I don't want to close the door, but there are opportunities to communicate with elected officials, and the best is during scheduled times.
Thank you, Doug. All right, well, please pass the microphone down to Mary. So Mary, this is your turn to start first. And it's another relationship question, although slightly different. So how do you see Crossfield's relationship with the province of Alberta, both currently and as it unfolds in the future? So again, how do you see Crossfield's relationship with the province of Alberta, both currently and in the future?
The province of Alberta is mothership, okay? They will definitely assist the communities, right? So one example is the climate change program, the climate action program. Calgary has an action plan for the climate action plan from 2023 to 2026, I believe. Crossfield hasn't really dwelled on that as yet, as much. We do need the provincial backup for grants, if any, applicable. Example, let's say senior housing, seniors that want to have a small condominium type of home for a few families, right, that don't want to leave town. Our future children here might want to have low-income housing, right, to give them a start. All of these things the province can back us up with. In essence, I don't see any issues with that. I've dealt with the province personally myself in previous positions, and I managed to secure grants and assistance from them at all levels. I think the communication is very essential. But it also depends on whom we elect at provincial level, right? That's beyond my control as well.
Thank you very much, Mary, and we'll pass it down to Doug, please. Okay, Doug, same question. How do you see Crossfield's relationship with the province of Alberta, both currently and in the future?
As a mayor of a small community, that relationship with your bigger brothers and sisters is integral in making a positive advancement in all aspects that impact your running of a community. That is an important step, is to set up good communication lines with the appropriate people at higher levels so that you can pass up information that may help you obtain the grants or that would be coming in at a later date. And it also keeps the people at a higher level informed of your needs and your plans and how you're going to spend money if it does become available. So it's, I wouldn't say a number one priority, but it's very high on the list to ensure that you form relationships with the appropriate agencies and know the people within those agencies that can give you good support if and when you need it, the same as being a front man for them in keeping them informed of what the needs of your community are. It's a game of cloaks and daggers sometimes, but if you know how to play the game, then you can achieve the best benefits for both sides of the table. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Doug. And Kim, same question. How do you see Crossfield's relationship with the province of Alberta, both currently and in the future?
Well, currently we have a really great relationship with the province. I have many meetings with the Premier. I've met with her more than 3 times. I've met with her in advocating for Crossfield and our infrastructure needs. I've met with her through our mid-sized mayor's caucus several times to talk about infrastructure funding. Minister Schultz calls me her favorite. And so that's a good indication of having a good relationship. Through Minister Schultz, we were able to push our wastewater project forward a little bit quicker because she is the Minister for Alberta Environment. And she asked them to help Crossfield and make sure that we got what we needed, and that was very helpful as we move forward with our wastewater solution, which we do have. Additionally, we partnered with minor hockey in the last 2 years here to upgrade the arena ice plant. So through my relationship with our MLA Nathan Cooper at the time, now Tara Sawyer, I lobbied and pushed for him to allot that grant money to us. Now, it doesn't say that, you know, minor hockey, being our partner, didn't make a good push. They did too, and so did our grant writer. But I think that sometimes when you talk to the elected officials at the different levels of government, that's how you get things through. So we currently have a good relationship. We're going to keep a good relationship no matter what government is in so that we can get the best things for Crossfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kim. I'll get you to pass the microphone back to Doug. Now, just before we continue the next round, I'm looking at the clock and the number of questions. And with one more round, would it be 18 minutes? We don't have quite that much time. I'm going to suggest that the next round we do 1 minute per answer. Would you all be okay with that? Sure. Okay. Madam Timer, are you okay to do one? Awesome. Yeah, so you're going to see the yellow light at 30 seconds. You're going to see the red light at 1 minute. I'm trying not to be involved. I'll probably wait 5 seconds and I'll say your name or wave or something. Okay, so Doug, for this final round, this is your chance to answer this question first. And remember again, 1 minute for these answers. If elected, how will you work with the other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing viewpoints? Again, if elected, how will you work with the other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing viewpoints?
I'm going to say I'm going to work with them the same way on simple issues or complex issues. We are a team. We are expected to do our job in bringing all aspects of things that will affect the community to the forefront and debate them. We're always going to have some differences, but it is important that as a team, we voice those differences and have a vote on them. So, as an example, there would be an issue. I would expect a 50-50 split on good and bad. If there isn't, I'm going to ask that there be a reconsideration and somebody be chosen as the opposing side. Because we have to get all points out so that the public can understand the issues and we don't get into the habit of groupthink. As a team, we have to come out so that there's a win-win situation for everybody.
Kim, same question. If re-elected, how will you work with other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing viewpoints?
Great question. So I think it's important right off the bat that we get really good information from admin so that we can make good decisions around the council table. Once the presentations are done and we have good information from the staff and we've asked our questions, it's excellent to have respectful debate around the table. And I think everybody has to, talk in a respectful way and treat everybody with respect as we have it. It's good to have opposing debate because at times you may not have thought of that. And once you listen to another counselor, it could change your mind on that issue if they have really good reasons as to why they're opposing it. So everyone on council wants the best interest of Crossfield, and so that debate helps with that.
Thank you, Kim. And Mary, if elected, how will you work with other council members on complex issues when you may have opposing viewpoints?
I actually did conflict resolution for many years. So working with board members, etc. 8,000 employees in labor relations for TELUS. Sitting down with 10 people bargaining for the entire nation. Yes, there are conflicts. However, each person has the right to do their viewpoint, put their views out there, to do a case. If that doesn't work, then what we did was we did pros and cons. How would this affect the employees? In this case, how would this affect the community, right? Would it be welcomed? Would it be beneficial, longevity-wise, etc.? It's not easy always dealing with people, but I have managed to deal with people on a daily basis with conflicts.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, so microphone back to Kim, please. Hey, Kim, second question of this round, and you get to answer first. So everybody wants better facilities, more things for youth and seniors. What are things you want to see coming to Crossfield, and how are we going to fund them? So again, everybody wants better facilities. What things do you want to see coming to Crossfield, and how will we fund them?
Yeah, everybody wants something, and they usually want it for nothing, but that can't happen. So some of the things that we do have coming up here, we have a pump track for the kids and adults if they want to ride on it. So it's kind of like a BMX track. Within the 10-year capital plan in the next 3 years, we also have a skateboard park, and to replace the wooden one we have. And that'll be a nice cement bowl one so the kids can play on it. And that is easily funded through town taxes, partially. We'll ask the county for a third of that, and then another third of that will come from CFEP grant by partnering with a community group.
Okay, thank you very much, Kim. And the microphone goes to Mary, please. Mary, everybody wants better facilities. What are things that you want to see coming to Crossfield, and how will we fund them?
Yes, I've had people even want a swimming pool, which is not going to happen. I'll be quite frank with you. I can't promise that. In terms of things that are viable for this Crossfield would be, example, a huge recreational center for children. That would probably be done through a government grant or donations. Reach out to corporate companies, large ones. We can also do fundraising. There are many venues, right? I mean, there's a lot of things people want, right? And we already have a skating rink here. We've got an arena. We've got a lot of things going for the children. And yes, children would like to have them in other areas as well, the same reproduction of skate rink, etc. That's not going to happen. You can drive, right? You can walk. It's not that far. So again, budget is very imperative as well. So a lot would have to come from funding, raising, etc.
Okay, thank you very much. And goes to Doug, please. Doug, everybody wants better facilities. What are things you want to see coming to Crossfield, and how are we going to fund them?
Well, I think every day is Christmas, and as long as you think positive, things will happen. Not right away. However, having said that, the youth and the elderly come to mind right off the top. I know pickleball has gone crazy in this town apparently, because I've tried to get into the curling club there a number of times, and it's always got activities going on. Soccer is another up and growing sport, more economical than hockey to get into, but hockey is a great sport too because we're Canadians. However, soccer, is a field that is affordable to all families. And I think when we're looking at building projects, we also have to consider not only who's going to benefit, but those that are going to learn the most from it, right?
All right. Thank you very much, Doug. All right, we'll pass the microphone back to Mary, please. All right. This will be the final question for the mayoral section. Mary, what is, oh, sorry. Right, so new question. What is your vision for Crossfield by the end of your term in 4 years or in 20 years? Again, what is your vision for Crossfield by the end of your term in 4 years or in 20 years from now?
My vision for Crossfield within 4 years would be to have a solid base here of businesses so that our children can stay within the community and obtain jobs, employment here. Our seniors to have better services in terms of Alberta Health Services, like we don't have enough support services for seniors. Another thing would be transportation to medical appointments. I believe in the past we had that. It was removed. I'd like to reinstate that. That is a very valuable asset because our population here is aging. I think we have a mixture about half-half of older people and younger people at this point in time. In 20 years from now, what do I envision in Crossfield? Hopefully not Airdrie. Am I up?
Thank you, Mary. Just pass it down to Doug, please. Thank you so much. Doug, what is your vision for Crossfield by the end of your term in 4 years and in 20 years from now?
My goal would be to still be at the helm in 20 years. However, in 4 years, we have to work very hard to outdo what Ms. Harris has accomplished in 4 years. So we almost have to hit the road running. And then that depends on the projects that are in place and underway, the feedback from the public on a priority system. I want to involve the people in every decision, that they will have input, and we've talked about how they can communicate that in the past. So a growth of what has already been started with more significant plans on how to proceed for the next 8 to 20 years after that.
Okay, thank you, Doug. And Kim, what is your vision for Crossfield by the end of your term in 4 years and in 20 years from now?
Great. For the 4-year term, I think just, building a really good foundation and continuing to build a good foundation through bylaws and policies and a good budget plan to set our town up for success. And the 20-year plan is really, and it's always been my goal and goal as mayor, is to really build a Crossfield where we can all live, work, and play, and one where our kids want to come back and move to. I'd love to have my kids come back here and live close to me. Just on a note, we do have transportation for seniors. It's called the Rocky View Foundation bus. The town supports that through our budget, and they take seniors to appointments. They drive them to different places, and they can book that at any time. Thank you.
All right, and thank you, Kim. All right, thank you to all our mayoral. Sometimes I get it, and sometimes I don't. Thank you for all of our candidates. I cheated. For your questions. We're now going to give you will each get 3 minutes for a final statement. We will go in the reverse order where we started, and so we'll go with Mary first, then Kim, and then Doug. Again, 3 minutes for your final comments, and you'll see the yellow light when 30 seconds are left and the red light when we're asking you to wrap up, please. It goes very fast. So, Mary, you get to come up first, and you can actually, yeah, you can come up to the podium.
Well, there's going to be a long road ahead. My final remarks are, by the way, for the Rocky View Foundation, the bus doesn't work from what I heard, but it broke down. In terms of Crossfield, what can I offer you? I can offer you all of my undivided attention. I'm a good listener. I'm effective in communicating. A little rusty, because I haven't done it for 2 years now. I am here for you. I don't know, for the seniors, for the children, for the pets, right? I am here for the emergency services. I'm here to make sure that everybody's safe and that we have a well-balanced fiscal budget here. It's very, very crucial for us because a lot of people are seniors. They cannot afford further expenses and increases. Thank you.
And Kim, to you.
Thank you for this opportunity to share my vision for Crossfield's future. Yes, I work in Airdrie, and yes, I live in Crossfield. And yes, I'm present and available for all of you all the time. I have not missed anything yet, and I'm happy to be that way. The budget is online for anybody to see, so at any time, if anybody wants to look at the budget, it's thorough, it's there, it's available, and we even have a nice readable budget book available for everybody to find out about that, all the ins and outs. On the school site, it hasn't been turned over from the developer to the school yet. Currently, we're about 5th on the list, and we'll let the school trustees speak a little bit more to that. So over the past 4 years, we've built a solid foundation together. With my leadership, we've moved from planning to action, from problems to solutions. Our financial house is in order, our infrastructure is improving, and our community is growing strategically. But this is just the beginning. I see Crossfield where young families choose to stay and build their lives, where seniors can age in place comfortably, where local businesses thrive and new opportunities emerge, where our kids walk safely to school and play in well-maintained parks. This vision isn't mine. It's not just mine, it's ours. It comes from our conversations I've had with you at community events, council meetings, and around town. You've told me what matters: fiscal responsibility, community safety, quality recreation, and a smart growth that preserves what we love about our small town life. Experience matters, leadership matters, and results matter. I have proven I can deliver, manage your tax dollars responsibly, and work effectively with other levels of government to secure funding for Crossfield's priorities. The next 4 years will be pivotal. The momentum I have created, partnerships in place, and projects ready to launch, we need steady leadership to see them through. I'm not just asking for your vote, I'm asking you to be part of building our community's future. Attend council meetings, join committees, volunteer for community events. Moving Crossfield forward works best when we all participate. To my fellow candidates, thank you for stepping forward and engaging in this democratic process. Regardless of the outcome, I hope we can all continue working together for Crossfield's benefit. To the voters, you have an important decision to make October 20th. I promise to continue to serving with integrity, transparency, and dedication. Together we'll build a Crossfield our children will be proud to call home. I'm looking forward to your continued support. On October 20th, re-elect Kim Harris as your mayor. Thank you.
And Doug, the podium is yours.
We're going to talk faster this time. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come here and listen to us tonight. I hope you will be inspired to vote for me and have the confidence in me such that you will talk with your neighbors and friends about your experience here tonight. Through my canvassing, I have heard some of you mention what is important to you. I support safe communities, affordable and diverse housing options, opportunities for small businesses and growth of existing ones, exercise and sport opportunities that are accessible and affordable to all, especially the youth and elderly, increased walking paths and spaces to enjoy nature and family activities are important. I personally would like to see growth in community events, facilities for hosting sporting events, and the resulting facilities that come along with these for lodging, restaurants, etc. We all belong to the community of Crossfield, and as such, are a large family. As I am sure many of you already know, a family will have their differences, will argue, turn against each other, but in the end, will reunite stronger than ever. The process we are going through now is a democratic right, and thank you for taking an active participation in this process. You are partaking in the process of listening and voicing your concerns and issues. Be confident in your decision and be proud to vote on October 20th. As in most things we do in this society, there can only be one winner, and this becomes a sad time for the others in the race. Win or lose, the sun will shine tomorrow. We who are candidates will have experienced something that very few others have done, and we can still work together in making Crossfield a better place to live, to work, and be a family. A large turnout of voters at the polls would help us, running as candidates, feel our time and efforts were not wasted in wanting this position to work on your behalf. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Doug, Kim, and Mary. We're now going to transition to the School Trustee Forum. So I'd like to invite and welcome Gail Fuhr to come up and run the next section. Gail. Actually, we'll give you guys a minute. You can come down this way. There's a set of stairs. Break. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break to allow people to visit their facilities, and then we'll recommence at 8:25 exactly.
Hello. I think we'll have everyone take a seat, please. So my name is Gail Fuhr. I am a small business owner from Airdrie and also part of Toastmasters with Bob. And I'm so honored to be here tonight to introduce the candidates for our trustees and help them with some questions. So each candidate will be given 3 minutes to introduce themselves and share their platform at the podium. And we will start with Norma Lang, please.
Oops, mic adjustment. Okay, good evening, and thank you all for being here. A special thank you to the educators and future educators in the room and watching online. My name is Norma Lang, and I'm running for re-election as your public school trustee. I have been serving this community as trustee for 4 terms, and I've lived in Crossfield for 23 years. I bring a business degree, relevant professional work experience, and personal lived experience as a parent to this role. My husband Mark and I have raised 2 daughters through the Crossfield schools, from their first day of kindergarten to grade 12 graduation. We lived the realities of Rocky View schools alongside you. Fun on the playground, exams, sports, band, and the joy of seeing dedicated teachers go the extra mile. Today, our oldest is working towards her education degree and will soon become an Alberta teacher. Public education is deeply rooted in our household. Our board's ward system has changed with this election. 2 large trustee wards have been merged into one. The trustee ward that we live in has effectively doubled in size. With that boundary change comes new responsibility for the elected trustee. It will be a heavy workload to ensure every community from Crossfield in the north to Indus in the south has a strong voice, fair access to resources, and that our community students remain the focus. Over the last few terms as your trustee, a few key priorities I've stood for include space for students, new schools, modular classrooms, modernizations, ensuring growth doesn't outpace capacity, supports for students, inclusive learning, mental health, and direct classroom supports so no student is left behind, and transparent, responsive communication, keeping parents informed and ensuring the board is accountable to our community. Looking ahead, I have a few goals in mind if you give me a fresh mandate, and these include sustained advocacy for a new Crossfield school, equitable investment across all schools, and in every way I can, I'll support community members in Crossfield and Catherine who want to start an agricultural learning program in our area of the school division. I want to be a voice to ensure upcoming decisions around transportation and boundaries involve full parent engagement. Crossfield matters, and every child deserves a school environment that supports learning, belonging, and success. If you choose me, you'll get an experienced trustee, on the job, full-time, who listens, responds quickly, and fights for students first. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
And Sarah Roth, please.
Good evening, Crossfield. My name is Sarah Roth, and I'm seeking your support to serve as Rocky View School Trustee for Ward 2. Thank you for welcoming me here tonight. This is my first time speaking in a large public forum, and it's about a bit outside my comfort zone. I'm more used to connecting one-on-one with parents and community members in an honest, open conversations. I'm here because I believe in the power of our community, the parents, educators, and engaged citizens, working together to build a school system that listens, adapts, and supports every child. People have asked me, what does a trustee actually do? Trustees don't run day-to-day operations. They're governance leaders, not managers. Think of a trustee as an educational architect. They set priorities, approve budgets, and make sure our schools and every student have the resources they need to succeed. They listen, they ask hard questions, and they guide the division with your values in mind, especially when things get complicated. As a mom of 2 energetic kids, a curious 5-year-old boy, and a very strong-willed 9-year-old girl, I live and breathe the school experience every day. I know the joys of seeing our children thrive, and I understand and experiences the challenges families face navigating the education system. I've seen where our schools shine, and I've seen where they need more support. With over a decade of experience as a paralegal, I've built skills in advocacy, navigating complex systems, and standing up for fairness. I bring those same skills to work as your trustee. For the past 3 years, I've chaired the Langdon School Council, collaborating with parents, educators, and community partners. Together, we've improved communication, volunteer safety, and hosted expert-led sessions for families on topics like child development and online safety. Since before announcing my candidacy, I've immersed myself in the workings of our school division by attending every board meeting, engaging with current trustees, and studying the policies that shape our schools. I respect the work already done, but I believe it's time for a fresh perspective, fresh parent-focused perspective that matches today's realities. My approach is straightforward: collaborate openly, be transparent, and focus on meaningful change. I'm committed to making sure every child in Rocky View School, whether in town or rural, has equal access to quality education, reliable transportation, and programs that enhance their learning. I'll advocate for smaller class sizes, stronger student supports, and a safe, respectful environment where all kids can thrive. As your trustee, I'm ready to listen to every voice from parents and caregivers, educators, and community members. Together, we can build a school system that reflects our shared values and supports our families. Thank you for your time and for caring about our schools. It would be a true honor to have your support and to serve as your Rocky View School Division trustee for Ward 2.
Thank you to both of you. We'll start with the questions now. And Norma, this will be for you first. How will you engage with parents, students, and staff in our community so their voices are heard at the board table?
Is this on? Yep. That's a great question about how to engage with parents and community members and take that voice to the board table. So that's a good summary of an important aspect of what a trustee does. And some of the most important ways to do that, of course, are listening to parents in schools who are actively living the education experience. So attending school council meetings, which parent council meetings, and asking parents for their guidance and direction on decisions that are upcoming at the board table is an important way to do that. We have lots of very engaged parents in our Rocky View school system, and they certainly have guided my decision-making and priorities at the board table over the years. Another important way is through the board, we can have engagements on important issues like transportation and school boundaries. So when important decisions that are directly affect families, we can set up an engagement, whether that's an online survey or a community meeting very similar to this one, where we set up chairs and tables and engage with parents and ask them for their feedback before we make an important decision. That's very effective. And I guess as a trustee, it's really important to me that the integrity of those processes stays the way it is. As we become a bigger school division, in the time I've been a trustee, we've gone from 14,000 students to nearly 30,000 this year. It becomes harder and harder to do those things, but it's very important that we continue to do our best to try and engage families before we make important decisions.
And Sarah, how will you engage with parents, students, and staff in our community so their voices are heard at the board table?
That's a really good question. As Norma said, that is the key of what a trustee is engaging with parents and making sure that we are the community and have a voice. Definitely in school councils, in society meetings, just introducing yourself, making sure that people know that you are there, making sure that people understand what a trustee does. As one thing I've found as running is not very many people actually know what we can do and what we are. I think that's very, very important, and just attending events in the communities, making sure that you're available, making sure that people can see that you're here, you're there, and you're gonna voice their concerns or voice their strengths.
You. Sarah, this will be you to start off. If you had to make tough budget choices, what areas would you protect as the most important for students and why?
Tough budget choices. One trustee actually told me there's 100 ways to spend $1. And that one is definitely stuck in my mind. I think the things that I would keep for sure I would definitely advocate for smaller classes and more learning supports as the classrooms are getting bigger and bigger. For example, my daughter's grade 5 class has 36 kids in it right now. That's insane. And I would definitely try and make sure that smaller class sizes is top front of the mind.
And Norma, if you had to make tough budget choices, what areas would you protect as the most important for students and why?
Is this on? Yeah. Another super question. So this is the work of the trustee, is making tough budget decisions. And to me, the first and foremost place we need to protect is direct classroom resources. So the reason this is tricky is because the budget for Rocky View School Division is massive. It's $350 million, and that's what we're stewarding as a Board of Trustees. When the money comes to us from the government of Alberta, who are the funders, and they get the hard decisions really lay at their feet of the Premier, caucus, MLAs, make these decisions on how to fund education. And they provide an allocation to Rocky View School Division. And a lot of the money comes across with strings attached to it. So this is how much you get for transportation. This is how much you will spend on capital maintenance and renewal projects. And this is how much you have for instructional funding. The temptation for some school boards would be to maybe dip into the instructional bucket to fund some things that are maybe governance or administration related, or even transportation if you don't want to have school bus fees. But my priority is all of the money that comes through for instruction is spent primarily on teacher salaries so that we can push as much of that resource into the schools to benefit students. Like classroom complexity is out of control, and Rocky View schools, like our advocacy is primarily focused on trying to persuade the government that we need more funding for public education, particularly for classroom supports.
Thank you. Norma, this will be for you again. What are, what are 2 initiatives you support in schools to help meet the needs of diverse learners?
Sure.
Hello? Sorry. What are 2 initiatives you support in schools to help meet the needs of diverse learners?
So I respect that question, and it is a little bit operational in nature, but I'll take a crack at it. So we certainly have a lot of diverse learners in Alberta in our education system, and this is part of what is creating complexity in the classroom. Every student in Alberta deserves to get the very best education they can. And 2 initiatives would be, number 1, making sure that we have the specialized supports for students who are divergent learners. There's a need to, not just when I say direct classroom supports and providing supports for teachers that are working directly with kids, those teachers need support. So initiatives that bring supports from a central base of people, a pool of people with expertise working with specific students is an important way to protect the integrity of the learner who has different needs than the other students. Another way would be to have specialized places where those students could go for specialized learning. Rocky View Schools, we used to have access to programs in Calgary that no longer have the capacity to accept our students. And so we've had to work to create opportunities within our school system to shuffle kids around and put them into places where we can offer specialized programs in our schools. So that's a second way to support diverse learners.
Sarah, what are 2 initiatives you support in schools to help meet the needs of diverse learners?
As Norma just said, for sure, it is definitely an operationals thing. But yeah, some of the things that I've seen, going to the board meetings and watching as some of the schools come in and explain some of the programs they have for different things has been amazing. One of the initiatives that I can think of is a maker's space. Some of the schools have a place that they can go and learn differently. So they have writing boards, they have the supports to do that, and it's more of a quiet space that they can do that in. If kids need the quiet, kids need a little bit of just that 5-minute kind of cool down time. That's not a great word, but just to be by themselves with supervision, obviously. Definitely we need adequate supports. The teachers, the admin, everybody needs to be able to be on board to help some diverse learners. And as Norma said, we have a huge variety of learners in our school system, and that is definitely makes a challenge, which is why we need more supports and smaller class sizes for everyone to have the diverse opportunities.
Thank you, Sarah. There was several of these questions, so I think we should address it. This one says, how do you hope to see the teacher strike resolved? And Sarah, that would be for you.
Yay, I got first crack at that one. The teachers' strike, I will say I am 100% behind the teachers. They are the backbone to our education. Without the teachers, we don't have a school system. I would love it would be amazing if TEMA and ATA got together and made an amazing come out of the cloud plan that would work for all teachers, for all administrative. But unfortunately, as we've seen, that isn't happening yet. It would be great if there was no strike, but unfortunately, it's a reality we're all going to see, and a lot of people with kids in the system are going to have a lot of challenges ahead of keeping their kids, trying to keep educated and keep going. One of the outcomes that I would like to see is definitely just more funding for specialized programs or more funding for the teachers, just help out in our schools. We definitely need the educators to be there, because without the educators, there is no education.
And Norma, how do you hope to see the teachers' strike resolved?
Sure. Well, I kind of want to stand up on the table and shout it out loud, but the answer is to properly fund public education. Can I get a hell yeah? Yeah, we need to properly fund public education in the province of Alberta. It almost makes me want to cry. Teachers are striking, as you've heard reported in the media and coming straight out of their comms. This is about a systemic need for improved funding of the public education system. Teachers are talking about classroom complexity, how to handle inclusion in the classroom, and they're crying for this to be properly funded. This affects the experience of all of our students in schools, and it's just, we want to resolve this by directing more classroom supports directly to the classroom. That's the answer. An interesting thing is happening in the landscape of public education advocacy in this province. Never have we seen all of the education stakeholders, where you're talking about the ATA, the Alberta School Board Association, the College of Alberta Superintendents, we're all calling for the same thing. We are calling for equitable funding. We are asking the provincial government to make investment and making it significant to support student success in increasingly complex classrooms. We're asking the government to prioritize public education and properly fund it. And we're asking for mental health supports for students and staff so that well-being of all of our stakeholders in the classrooms is supported. If I had more time, I would love to just do a deep dive into what the Teacher Employer Bargaining Association truly is, because I think there's a misunderstanding out there. But Lauren is saying I'm at a red light. But if you want to pick up the conversation afterwards, please, I will stand at the table back there and give you some further information. Thanks.
Thank you, Norma. Norma, this is addressed to you. It says to Norma, what improvements to the RVS have you championed on behalf of our children? Please give specific examples.
Sure. Well, one thing that I do feel I have, my energy has gone into and probably made some improvements is on our advocacy. So we have very clear priorities in Rocky View schools now at any specific point in time about what we are advocating for to the provincial government. We have cheat sheets and speaking information. We have gone out to the communities and asked for the support of parents and even students to help us lift up the voice and raise the cry for what we need in our schools. So I feel that I've brought some change there. I've also worked closely with other levels of government, and I have championed working closely with municipalities. I have a great relationship with the council here in Crossfield, but also in Airdrie, and actually had a meeting with the education minister not too long ago with Peter Brown, the mayor of Airdrie, where we were able to work together and combine our interest in seeing the government fund infrastructure better in the province of Alberta. So I was able to speak from the school side, he was able to speak from the municipal side, but we were able to do that together. And that was a new thing that I was able to bring to the board when I was the board chair a couple of years ago. So I think that advocacy would be kind of my top answer to that.
Thank you. And Sarah, what improvements to the RVS would you champion on behalf of our children? Please give specific examples.
I think definitely one of the things that need to be for sure is the RVS communication group is really, really good, but I think they can improve for sure and explain what a trustee is. Like I said in my opening, is a lot of people that I'm running for and telling them about, they don't know what a trustee does. They don't have any idea what the RVS can help them with. I don't have kids in the system. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But it does. The kids are everything. They are going to be the ones taking care of you when you get old. They're going to be the ones making the decisions for the seniors' homes. They're going to be the ones making the sidewalks, doing the transportation that it seemed that was quite adamant out here before. Some of the accomplishments, definitely, I can use it as Rocky View, or what I've done in the council. I've opened up the communication. I've made it so that any of our parents can reach out to us. I've made it so that they know that they can reach out to us. I've started working with a lot of the other boards. I have yes, I'm only in Langdon, but I work with 3 other councils in Langdon, and we also work with Indus, and we work together because I've opened that line of communication. I've made sure that everyone knows that I can be found and I can talk for you, and give me your voice. I would love to make it stronger.
Thank you, Sarah. And our last question, again, will be probably something controversial also. Sarah, what are your views on the new graphic book restrictions and the gender declaration limitation for girls' sports? Did you want me to repeat it? What are your views on the new graphic book restrictions and the gender declaration limitations for girls' sports?
I understand that decisions about books and learning materials involve careful considerations by educators, administrators, and the community. It's important to balance diverse perspectives while ensuring the students have access to a wide range of ideas that support their learning and growth. I definitely believe in fostering the access to a wide range of ideas that support their learning and growth. Ultimately, I think that some of the books can be banned, but it's a bad word to use, banned. They're there for a reason. Yes, those graphic novels should not have been in a K-6 school, but if we have more librarians and more supports there, they won't be accessible to other grades, other ages. They're in the high schools. They shouldn't probably be in the high schools as very graphic ones too, but once I started looking at the ones that Edmonton School Division started saying that we're going to be banned in that, everybody's perspective is something different, which is very hard. Everyone has their own opinions, and everyone deserves to have those opinions. And then gender identity, I definitely believe in creating a safe, inclusive environment where every student feels respected and supported. I also value open communication with parents and guardians. I have open conversations with my kids on a daily basis as to what's going on in their school, what's going on in their lives. I believe if you don't know what's going on in your child's life under the age of 16, you should be informed. Absolutely be informed of having to give the parent rights.
Thank you, Sarah. And Norma, did you want me to repeat the question?
Sure, thank you.
What are your views on the new graphic book restrictions and the gender declaration or limitations for girls' sports?
Okay, well, I guess the first thing I want to say about this question is that what I don't like is the attempt to politicize what's happening in our schools. So this is an agenda that doesn't make it easy for school divisions to have safe, inclusive environments and have students feel like they can lean into that. So I don't like that we're politicizing these things in our schools, so I want to say that first. Regarding the graphic books, Rocky View Schools, we did have a delegation come to our board meeting last year, and they showed pictures of some books that are available in Alberta schools, and they were shocking. I will tell you that. So it's hard for me to want to believe that we need those books on the shelves. However, I also believe that sometimes students need specialized supports. We already talked about that in a previous question. So it doesn't mean necessarily that these things can't be available in schools. We just have to be mindful about who we are making them available to directly use the materials. That said, I am aware that in Rocky View School Division there might have been a couple of these books in our system, and that they were not available generally in the circulation for students. So this isn't the size of this issue isn't what people think it is, especially in our school division. Regarding gender and girls' sports, I believe that we need to keep the school sports safe for all people, And I think that girls and sports, they should be able to play the sport if they feel that they identify as a girl.
Norma, thank you. And we will have closing statements now from our candidates, and Sarah, we'll have you go first, please.
Get the Play-Doh in this hand so I can shake your hand. In closing, I want to thank Norma for her previous 15 years and for all of you for being here tonight and for caring deeply about the future of our schools. I'm running to be your Rocky View School Trustee for Ward 2 because I believe our education system needs strong, compassionate leadership that listens, advocates, and truly reflects the experiences of families today. I'm not just showing up for the election season. I've been showing up for years, whether chairing the school council, managing youth sports teams, and working side by side with parents, volunteers, and seniors across Ward 2. I know firsthand what it's like to juggle work, kids, and community commitments because I live it every single day. I'm not here to talk at people, but I'm here to listen, follow up, and ensure voices don't get lost in the vast system. I've built trust by being consistent, approachable, and honest, even when the conversations are tough. And yes, I'm reliable and very passionate, as you can tell. I love Play-Doh. This isn't about me. I do want your vote, so it kind of is about me. But more importantly, it's about you, our families, and our communities. It's about making sure our schools reflect the values and the needs of our families and communities who rely on them. This is what makes me different. As a parent of 2 kids currently in RVS, I understand the daily realities of school life. As a litigation paralegal, I bring the skills to navigate complex systems and stand up for fairness. As a community member, I've spent years working alongside others to make our schools and communities better through collaboration, transparency, and action. I'm not here to preserve the status quo. My intention is to bring a fresh perspective grounded in real-world experiences and driven by a deep commitment to children's success. I will be a strong voice for smaller class sizes, better supports for students and staff, and equal access to quality education across our region. If you're looking for a trustee who will show up, speak up, and work hard for what matters, I'm ready. I will be honored to earn your support and serve as your voice at the board table. And if you'd like to chat more one-on-one or have further questions, I'll be at the Harvest Lounge and Grill on Tuesday, October 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. And don't forget, on October 20th, vote for your trustee too. It's not just a mayoral election. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Sarah. And Norma, we'll have you.
Tonight you've heard about the priorities I bring to this role: space for students, support for students, and strong communication with parents and community, to name a few. You might be wondering, she's been at this for a while. Why is she running again? There are a few key reasons. For me, this has never been just a position. It's a calling. As a parent of 2 daughters who grew up in our schools, I know firsthand how important it is that every child has what they need to thrive, and how lucky we are to have teachers and staff we do at our schools. I continue to have the energy and heart to serve in this role with passion. Another reason is that now is not the time for change. It is a time for steady leadership. With only 2 rural wards left on a school board of 8, experience matters now more than ever. I have experience serving not just on the board, but in the community. From 4-H to church to the Chamber of Commerce and career fairs, I have been serving in this community for decades. Also, I am best placed to represent the whole ward. The new Ward 2 isn't just one town. It stretches from Crossfield all the way south to the 22X. Over the years, I have worked with schools and families across this vast area, and I know the schools and the communities really well. If you'd like to learn more about my vision and track record, please visit my website at normalang.ca or pick up a brochure at the back table tonight. In closing, I wanted to say a few thank yous. First, to Bob and Gail for moderating the discussion tonight. Thank you to the Town of Crossfield for always organizing meaningful candidate forums and always including school trustee candidates. Also, a big thank you to my opponent, Sarah, for opening the door to community conversations and triggering an election. It's the only chance we really get to engage with the community like this on educational priorities, and some very difficult but good questions came out of the woodwork tonight. And an extra big thank you to my hardworking campaign manager, Mark Lang. Yeah. And thanks to all of you for being here tonight. I welcome all of you to reach out if you have a question. And I just wanted to say, this work matters. I love it. And I am ready to keep making a difference for Crossfield and all of Ward 2. I would be very honored to have your support on October 20th. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Norma, and that is it for this evening. Thank you to all of our candidates for participating this evening and sharing their perspectives with the community. Your time, insights, and commitment to the public service are greatly appreciated. Thank you to everyone in the audience for attending, engaging, and taking the time to ask thoughtful questions. Your participation is essential to a strong and informed community. As we conclude, we encourage all residents to continue learning about the candidates, reflect on the issues discussed tonight, and exercise their right to vote in the upcoming election. Please remember that advance vote is October 9th from 4 to 8 p.m. in the Crossfield Community Center, and Election Day is October 20th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., again in the Crossfield Community Center. And remember to bring your ID with a picture showing your name and address. So on behalf of Bob and myself, thank you so much for having us, and thank you everyone for coming. Have a good evening and drive safely.